What's going on, apes? My name is Tyler. Welcome back to the channel. And we have to go over the fact that the evidence is showing us that hedge funds and institutions are likely using options to remain in their short positions. Now, the legal short interest is still at about 17%, which we are going to go over, as well as a brief update about where we do currently sit. But this does suggest to me that the real short interest could be much higher. I know some people have been talking about this, so I am here to pass on this information. So let's not waste any time getting into it. Drop that like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on that notification bell so you'll be notified when these videos are uploaded, always in real time. So first things first, let's just get into a general update on AMC, and then we're going to go over the situation about the hedge funds and institutions using the option chain to make it look like they have covered on their short positions, but we still have a very high legal short interest. So that is very interesting. Now, as far as what did happen on Friday, obviously we were up 1.31%. So obviously a very good day that we did find support at this $40 support level. We should be looking for our next leg up since we did find this support at $40. We are currently at $41. So we did see a positive after hours of 0.39%. Looking for that either gap up back up to about $48, even $50 in my personal opinion, or we're going to see a slow and steady creep up to the upside. I think both of those are definitely possible. It could go either way. We could go under $40. I'm obviously not a fortune teller. If we do go under $40, then you're going to be looking at some level of support at this resistance level that we did fight so hard at about $38. So that's really what I expect. Watch for the volume to go back into the stock, and considering we went from about 225 million in volume just a couple trading days ago down to 72 million in volume, and we were still positive 1.31% on Friday, is a good sign in my opinion. So that's basically all I want to talk about as far as the charts are concerned. Let's go to the Stocko tracker data, and I actually just did update this, so this is the updated numbers. And obviously we've seen a lot of contracts that were out of the money, and that did happen because of that big drop that we did see Thursday, and we always see that big drop on Thursday. It tends to be the case. In my personal opinion, they make the stock go down. The market makers, hedge funds, institutions, they start shorting the stock a lot on Thursday to get a lot of these calls out of the money. At one point, we were at about 130,000 calls that were in the money. Now we did close with 67,000 calls that are in the money, but a lot of these were at the $40 strike. So I think that's why you're going to see some level of support coming at this $40 strike as well. A lot of actual shares were hedged at the $40 strike. So that does make a lot of sense. I think that's why another good reason we're going to have some support at $40. But nevertheless, options are very bad. They're taking a lot of people's liquidity. A lot of people lost a lot of money on Friday alone when it did come down to all of those options. Now, for next week, you're only seeing 24,000 calls that are in the money, 75,000 that are out of the money. Nothing too crazy. The next week after that, September 10th, you're seeing even less, only at 12,000 calls that are in the money, 34,000 that are out of the money. But coming September 17th, which is only just around the corner, we're going to have a chance for a significant gamma squeeze already with 114,404 calls that are currently in the money. We do have 245,000 calls that are out of the money. And when it comes down to about the last week or so before this actual expiration does come, that's where you start to see a lot of people rolling over their calls and going into the next week dated calls. So definitely something I'll be looking forward to. Looks like we're going to have a lot of open interest and calls that are in the money. Now, the Ortex data is telling us we have 17.17% legal estimated short interest percentage of free flow, 87.84 million shares that are currently sold short, which is a very high amount. We're also seeing the share utilization that has jumped up a lot at 92.95%. So you're definitely seeing a lot of shares that are going out on loan and that are being sold short. That is what that means. When the share utilization goes up, that means there is less available shares, or you just could have some hedge funds, institutions, or market makers, whoever has shares available that were willing to lend them out before, just took them off the books. They don't want to lend them out anymore. Those are really your three possibilities, but it does look like some of those shares did go to the free flow on loan. So nevertheless, very, very high numbers right here. 17.17% is a very significant amount, but once we now are going to get into the evidence that is pointing to the hedge funds and institutions using options to make it look like they have actually covered, I think only furthermore suggest my theory of the actual legal short interest is anywhere in between 40 and 80% just off of the math that we have been doing, the due diligence, everything. That is what it points to for me. So let's get into that situation. And essentially what is happening, we have to go to the option chain, obviously, especially when you come out to the January 21st, 2022 options expiration date. You see a lot of open interest from puts that are very, very far out of the money. You're seeing the $50 put, the dollar put, the $1.50 put, the $2 put, $2.50, $3, $3.50, all of these with some of them over 10,000 for open interest. Open interest 23,000 at the 50-cent put. Who is really buying these 50-cent puts? Well, if you know anything about options, how to create synthetic longs and synthetic shorts, you have to essentially buy and sell puts and calls. And I think that's why you're seeing these deep out of the money puts with such high open interest that are still a couple months away. But you're also seeing every single week, you're also seeing the deep out of the money calls with the highest amount of open interest. Just take a look, the 145 at 76,431. Now, I don't think apes are still buying these calls. They realize they expire worthless every single time. It never goes well for apes that are buying these calls. So I don't think 76,000 options are purchased by apes. So I do think they are using these puts and calls to cancel out each other, essentially make it look like so they can legally report that they have actually covered on their positions. But in all reality, they have not covered a single thing. Now, the downside to doing this for the hedge funds and institutions is that these options, they cost premium. So it's not free to stay in these positions. It's a lot cheaper than covering a position you're down almost 1,000% on. Yes, it's essentially kicking the can down the road. And let's read this post to furthermore explain this. And this is a great post. This was archived 7 months ago. So definitely check this out if you guys do want to. And I will go ahead and link that down below in the description so you guys can easily find it and check it out for yourselves. Now, it says, the memo contains a dozen pages of highly technical language, but here's a quick rundown. If short sellers are facing a squeeze because shares are hard to buy or scrutiny for holding onto an illegal short position, there can create an appearance of having closed their short position through the use of deceptive options trades. A hedge fund that is short a stock can write call options on a stock, meaning they are now short the call options, having sold the call options to someone else, typically a market maker, and simultaneously buying shares against the call options. The shares bought against the call options could be synthetic longs, meaning they are not a part of the original share flow of the stock as sold to the hedge fund by the market maker that takes the other side of the options trade. This works because if a market maker buys options from an options writer, the market maker has legal privileges to do a version of naked shorting. As part of the hedging function, this is necessary under the current rules and current system for market makers to protect themselves when facilitating options trades. This part is very important. As a result of the above transaction, the hedge fund that sold short calls was able to buy synthetic long shares against the calls. A synthetic share is one that has a long on one side and a short on the other hand, but wasn't a part of the original flow. The synthetic long shares are on the other side of naked shorts, legally initiated by the market maker, so the market maker can hedge. So that is basically saying calls and puts doing this strategy to create the synthetic shares and then going out and buying the synthetic shares to make it look like they have actually covered on their short positions. The hedge fund that bought the shares can now report that they have bought back their short position via buying long shares, except they actually haven't. The synthetic shares they bought are canceled out against the short call positions they initiated, a necessity of the maneuver by the way the market makers hedging of the call options they bought from the hedge fund. It says it gets very complicated very fast, but the gist is if the hedge fund can use tricks to make it look like they've covered their shorts, even if even if they haven't truly covered and can't for a lack of available flow, by way of exploiting loopholes that exist due to an interplay of reporting rule delays, market maker naked shorting exemptions, and legal practices of synthetic share creation, new longs and shorts made from thin air relating to market making. And there's a lot of great information in this article. There's even some tweets from Michael Burry that were deleted a while ago that you guys can definitely check out. It's pretty long, so I just wanted to read you guys the gist of what is being said here, but definitely check it out. Link down below in the description. There will be the link for that. So when it comes down to it, guys, this is not necessarily a bad thing. Them kicking the can down the road even longer, one, bleeds them of liquidity when they are buying and selling these calls and puts to make it look like they're still in their short positions. They're bleeding money by doing that. Also, at the same time, they give us a longer time period before actually covering on all of their short positions to acquire more shares, ultimately making true on that statement that all apes do know is that we dictate the price just because of how many legal shares that we do own. So ultimately, I think this is a good thing that they are kicking the can down the road, but even our legal short interest is still at 17.17%. So this is really a patience play. All you guys really need to know from this, because there's nothing that we can do if they are doing these activities, is that the more shares that we buy, the more of the company that we do control, ultimately the better the short squeeze will be. There's no way to time this, but it does look like everything that we've been talking about is coming to fruition even faster than a lot of people have thought. September and October are going to be very, very interesting months. So that is all I'm going to say about that, but that is all for this video. Drop that like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on that notification bell. Also, check out the 3 links linked down below in the description besides this link as well, so there will be 4. There is a link for a free Discord group chat, obviously all about AMC. There's also a link for the buy and sell alerts. We've been killing it over there, and it's very inexpensive, so definitely check that out as well. Also, a link for Public. If you guys are not signed up with Public, you guys already know the deal with that. Get up to $70 in your choice free stock. It only takes about 3 minutes time to receive that free stock. No need to link a bank account or deposit a single dollar. They also do not use payment for order flow, so if you're going to promote a broker like we do on this channel, better be one that does not promote payment for order flow. So check those links out, but that is all for this video. I will see you guys in the next one.